I know I'm in the minority on this one. I think everyone should go back to the office. But a new study out of China, of all places, has found, surprise, surprise, that working from home is causing people to suffer from loneliness and social anxiety. And most concerning, the study has found that people who work from home find it more difficult to make conversation. It seems as though people are actually regressing socially because they're spending too much time alone. I'm not surprised by this.
And in breaking news, water's wet.
I know. I'm not surprised by this. The thing that really worries me, though, is that, you know, we've normalised working from home, and I understand there are situations where it's good for parents who need to deal with the kids and all this sort of thing. But as a society, we are growing further apart. We're spending more time away from other people, and we use social media instead of going catching up with mates at restaurants or the pub or whatever. And working from home is just another way in which we are losing our connection to the rest of the world.
Working from home has got nothing to do with it. I'm sorry I'm not on your team on this one, Caleb. The people who are going to therapists now, you know what's wrong? They live alone. They are lonely. They didn't think, if I go back to the office, I'll mix with people. As Homer Simpson would say, duh. It's really obvious. They chose therapy. Now, I tell you what we've got to do. We've got to give up the idea that we're working from home, one size fits all. It doesn't. It depends on the situation. So with people who've got young children, working from home is a treasure. It is a golden time where it does really well for the little kids. It's great for them. And so what we need to have bosses who do not steal this golden moment away from those families and force little kids to become latchkey kids, but at the same time are welcoming and opening the office for the lonely people who are sitting there by themselves feeling miserable. One size does not fit all. So we've got to stop pretending. You know what we need? Flexibility.
Well, it's funny you should mention that, because that's what I've always said. It should be between the employer and the employee to come up with their own terms. I do find it funny, though. I mean, there are people posting on social media, Holly, you know, on TikTok in particular, what a surprise, videos saying, oh, you know, I didn't know that working from home would be this hard because I'm on my own all the time. But what do you think is going to happen?
But I actually am really worried about sort of the younger generation coming through, just starting out in their career, because being in the office environments where you learn other things from people with more experience than you, that you get to connect with management and more senior people.
But no one's forcing them to stay at home.
No, but they all think that it's part of their right to do it, so they should. And of course, we all know they're doing it in their sweatpants, or they go down the shop and get, you know, coffee and lunch, and that no one's putting in for leave anymore because they can have their doctor's appointment in the middle of the day and they can go to the dentist or get their hair cut, all on the boss's dime.
Can I tell you about...
You're talking about I do love, Kel, when you talk about the golden time for kids at home. I can tell you, when my first child was born, and my former... some friends of mine said, would you like to do some work from us from home? And I'm like, oh, my God, they reckon I only landed on their desk. So I had engagement with my brain. And the second I could get into an office to go back to work, you couldn't get me there fast enough in an effort to get a little bit of adult conversation going, because there's only so much of the wiggles and high five one woman can do per day. So, you know, I think we do need to also acknowledge that there's a lot of mums out there going, get me back into the office, because I need a reason to not have spit up on my shoulder and Vegemite in my hair.
Or even just to be able to go to the toilet when you need to.
Without company.
That is a very...
Without company.
That's right.
Being able to pay in silence.
Can I tell you about... Can I tell you very quickly about a new bit of software that's been developed? It's called a mouse juggler. What happens is, if you walk away from the desk, after a minute, it moves the cursor randomly around the screen. So you go down to the street and buy a cup of coffee, and the boss who's monitoring your computer thinks you're there working.
That's right, Evelyn, you wanted to jump
I was just going to say, like, on a serious note, I do think, culturally speaking, in Australia, we need to stop always thinking that everyone's personal crisis is somebody else's problem that they have to deal with. I mean, sure, there's a loneliness epidemic and there are these things, but the way that we sort of knee-jerk react here is like, well, what can we do to fix it? And it's like, well, how about some personal responsibility? Like, people are adults. If you're old enough to have a job, you're old enough to seek, you know, assistance with these particular factors in your life. And I just think, again, like you said, flexibility is great, but also a bit of personal responsibility with this goes a very long way.
100% always behind personal responsibility.